Many blessings, my loves. Here we are again at the dark of the moon, about to begin a whole new lunar tide. So, welcome, welcome. My name is Rebecca, and this is my new lunar cycle report. So, yeah, nice to have you here with me. So, we have a new cycle. Here it comes. So, yeah, actually, as I'm speaking right now, the dark moon is aligned with Uranus. So that's really nice. It's really exciting to feel that. Um, the Uranian energy is really assisting this report for me today. So yeah, I'm going to jump into sharing a screen with you. So I've been getting creative again. You know, if you've been watching my channel, that I was born on the dark of a moon. So yeah, very creative time for me. And yeah, so whenever you was born, what phase of the moon you was born in, you may feel like a peak in your fertility. And so this is really a lot about what this cycle is about. It's about fertility, um, because the new moon will be in Taurus. We know that Taurus is about procreation, right? It's embodiment of the bodily senses. It's about self-love, ruled by Venus. You know, Venus is all about love and our values and our survival instincts and yeah, self-generation and that embodiment of, you know, beautiful love and groundedness and also sustainability and reliability and practicalities of everyday grounded physical life. So yeah, the new moon will be in Taurus on the 19th of May at 16:53, and that's in the GMT time zone. And it will be aligned with the star called Algol, which is the head of Medusa. So I'm going to jump into a bit more on that, obviously, in the live sky when I jump over to Stellarium Web in a moment. Because yeah, I want to share a lot around Medusa actually, and my feelings around that and what that is about, what that is about. Also, the new moon is very close to the Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters, or um, Matariki, if you're over in New Zealand. Um, yeah, so that is being like the Pleiades has been a star cluster that has been revered, honored, and appreciated for as long as we know, you know, and it's you know, in some like old stories, like some cultures believe that the seven sisters are the original seven mothers or the seven seeds. So yeah, I mean, there's lots in the mythology around it, but like my feeling when I tune into the Pleiades is that they are the womb of Taurus, because I see the Taurian energy as more the Hathor um, fertility, embodiment, love, energy that's connected to Venus. So I actually feel that the Taurian constellation for me feels more feminine. You know, it might not be like that for you, but that's just how I see it. And even like the shape here, if you look at the symbol of Taurus, I've put it on here, look. So you've got like the circle or the middle, which is it's like the womb, right? So that's like the circle, and then the horns, it's like the ovaries. So it feels to me like the whole of the Taurus constellation is more to do with like, yeah, the creation of life and generation of fertility in life. And in a lot of cultures, you know, the Pleiades would symbolize the time to plant the seeds. So when they would see the Pleiades rising in the sky, the Matariki, you know, or even here, you know, in many cultures all over the world, you know, the Pleiades were linked to the time of planting seeds of new life, of growing life, um, of creation. And, you know, what better place to do that, you know, in the time on, you know, when the earth is in her peak fertility and the sun is shining, but there's also lots of water. So we have everything we need to have this juicy, ecstatic love, right? And so this is very much around the Taurian energy, and this is who the Hathors were. You know, they are connected to lovemaking, tantrikas, but also the guardians of the gate of life and death. They would call in the souls, singing in the souls. Yeah, so I feel like the Taurian energy, and actually on the other side of that, you know, we have the Ophiuchus energy, and the full moon will be in Ophiuchus, you know, and so this new moon, particularly being aligned to Medusa's head, very serpentine energy, and then the full moon being in Ophiuchus, which is the serpent bearer, you know, my feeling around this whole lunar cycle is really around the mysteries of the feminine, mysteries of the womb, mysteries of the cycles of life. Yeah, an embodiment of that. So the full first quarter moon will be on the 27th of May, and that will be in the stars of Leo. And then, like I said, the full moon in Ophiuchus, the 4th of June. Yeah, it's going to be a really powerful full moon, this one, you know, and the last quarter moon will be on the 10th of June in Aquarius. So these are the 4 points that we're working with this cycle, and I really feel like the frequencies of all of them are really strong. They always are, right? But it's a journey, you know, so the seeds come at the new moon. You know, this is the planting in of the new ideas, the new intentions, the new dreams. We could be planting physical seeds, you know, we could be conceiving now. A really good time to conceive if we're ovulating, if we're fertile, or if we are, you know, wanting to grow things in our garden or grow projects, grow, you know, so this really is around like creation, fertility, self-love, and all the things that we love, you know. So planting the seeds at the new moon, you know, takes us onto this journey of growth, of coming up and out, of birthing that up into the first quarter moon. You know, we start to see the leaves, and we start to see the growth, and we start to expand, and we connect with others. And so the Leo energy at the first quarter moon is going to be really great, you know, because it's going to be helping us to express ourselves, our dream, our creation, our hearts, our love, all of those things. So coming up to the full moon in Ophiuchus, you know, it could be this is the fullness of the cycle. And so that serpentine energy is going to be really full, really exposed, really out there, you know, and whatever we planted at the new moon, you know, by the time we get to the full moon, we'll be seeing some kind of fullness of that. And then going down to the last quarter moon in Aquarius, that's when we start to reflect on the cycle, what has happened, what went well, what didn't go so well. And we start to tend to that which is dying, that which is completing, that which we're letting go of, and clearing the cobwebs and the space away for a new cycle. The next new moon after that will be on the 18th of June, and will actually also be in Taurus in the live sky as well, but will be right at the end of Taurus. So in this type of astrology that I use is just the live sky as it really is. So sometimes, you know, it doesn't match up to, you know, what other astrology people say, but I believe that even in Western astrology, we will all agree that the new moon is in Taurus tomorrow, so on the 19th. So whatever type of astrology you use, I think in Western the sun is still in Taurus at the moment as well. So yeah, so this is like a all around Taurus celebration. And, you know, what are we celebrating on this new moon, and what kind of cycle are we embarking on here? You know, because Pluto is still squaring the nodes and will be for quite a while yet, you know, so this is a journey in itself. And so there will be an ongoing intensity through these cycles, you know, but there will be gifts and things that will really help us through this transformational time. Yeah, so I'm going to jump into the live sky with you. Now you've all seen my Now you've all seen my work of art. I'll pop that on my Instagram as well. And yeah, let's go over to Stellarium Web. So this is the sky right now. We can see, as I was sharing, the moon and Uranus are side by side as I speak. So this, I'm recording this on Thursday morning here in England. So yeah, you can see that this is the constellation Aries, quite high above the ecliptic there. And I've also got Vesta here, Mercury and Jupiter. The sun already over in Taurus. You can see the constellation Taurus here. This is the boundary. So the sun is very much in Taurus. So let's move the time to the 19th. And what is the time of the new moon? So it's 16:53. So as I said, this is the GMT time zone. And you can find out your time on timeanddate.com, wherever you are in the world. Click, click. Okay, there we go. Oh. There's Saturn. Saturn's in Aquarius, as you can see. Neptune in Pisces. Jupiter, look at Jupiter. He's right here. He's in the void between worlds. He is rebirthing. So Jupiter's been in Pisces and has recently moved now, and he's out of the constellation Pisces. And this is the constellation Cetus here. Constellation Aries here. So the boundaries of Aries actually come along here. You know, so people can argue if they would like where Jupiter is right now, you know, but why don't we ask Jupiter? Actually, you know, ask Jupiter ourselves. And so what I receive from Jupiter, you know, this is my own projection and my lens, is that this space in the sky is around rebirth. It's about coming out of the waters of Pisces, and it's that separating that consciousness that is who my soul is. I am. You know, I spoke about this in my last video. The I am frequency, the I am consciousness. You know, actually, this area of the sky, if we're thinking it as a journey, we come out of the waters of the womb of Pisces, and this time in the sky is really about, you know, our soul transitioning, our soul, Pisces, transitioning and separating into a body, Taurus, to be reborn as, you know, a new life in the physical. So when you think about Pisces being like the spirit or the energy of the divine and the spirit and the cosmos and the ocean, that's everything, you know, and then Taurus being the earth or the physical where we live now, you know, in between that place, you know, is the journey of the womb and being born. So this part in the sky where Jupiter's going now, where I'm, you know, I'm really feeling into the energy of Jupiter right now. And it's like, and Jupiter is in the center. He's right in the middle of our solar system. And it's like the gravitational force of Jupiter is like what I've read and heard, like keeps a lot of the solar system in balance, you know, because he's so big. So the Jupiter energy, you know, it's like the force of Jupiter, it can call in all that it needs. It is so expansive and so big and so grand, you know, so we can be feeling this Jupiter energy. And so he's moving through this part of the sky now, and he is going to be joining with the North Node as well, which is also very close to this part of the sky. The North Node is kind of around about in the middle here somewhere. I can't remember. I'd have to look at the chart in a moment. But you know, so Jupiter will be joining with the North Node as well. And so the North Node, the dragon's head, where we're moving towards and all of that destiny, you know, it's like, wow, there's a real opportunity for reaching new limits of our consciousness right now, as Jupiter is expanding into this place in the sky. Like we could be feeling like, wow, no, we could be reaching higher dimensions, you know, because Jupiter is so expansive. And this part of the sky is all about rebirth and new beginnings, so I feel like the Jupiter energy is rejuvenating this connection with I am consciousness. I am consciousness, I am soul, and actually what is that frequency in me, so we can bring it down into the Taurean life, body, feeling, and it's creating that channel from spirit to earth. And so this place in the sky is like that channel. It's like the temple, so we're drawing the spirit, our soul into this bodily temple to really express that which we know that we are on a soul level, so we could be feeling like the path of our soul is calling us now. Our true calling is here now. It's like, wow, no, I can really feel like as Jupiter's coming to the North Node as well, like there is this like feeling of aligning with our soul's purpose and what it is we really want to be doing on this land at this time. So yeah, giving thanks to Jupiter's journey right now as he's journeying into this new place in the sky that, is like that separateness from the ocean of Pisces. But like what I'm feeling is like he is encouraging me to feel the separateness, but also stay connected to the ocean. So to feel the oneness of the Piscean energy, remembering that, never to lose that connection to source and where we've come from, and to stay connected to our soul purpose and our seed that we're carrying into this physical life. We all come in with a seed, of what it is we're here to do on this planet, on, each time we incarnate, and that seed is like where Jupiter is now. It's like, I am here for dot, 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 and our soul knows that, and as parents of children, it's like we have to really to watch this essence, this soul, and who they are, rather than molding them to be who we want them to be, but to just really have reverence for who they already are. And lots of the ancient cultures, they as a child is coming in, they'll really tune into the soul of that child and the destiny of them, where they've come from, and what they may be bringing, and the gifts that they have for the village, so remembering that each soul is coming in with a unique gift and purpose that's so necessary for the whole, and yeah, so we, as in culture that we are now, have been very disconnected from that soul essence, that soul part of us. We may have been just clogging along in some reality, but it feels like with the Pluto energy on the nodes, squaring all that has been and all that will be, it's like this tension of change to actually, as Jupiter is transitioning here, to remember our soul and who we are and what we've come here to do. And that's a really powerful place to be, So yeah, here we go. Let's go to the new moon. I just had to give a little ramble about Jupiter because Jupiter is my ruling planet, which yeah, because I have my ascendant in Sagittarius, and Jupiter being the ruler of Sagittarius, and I also have Jupiter conjunct my North Node. So Jupiter's a really big friend of mine. To say, yeah, that's how I feel about him. It's like, yeah, okay, really liking Jupiter. um, so Sun and Moon. This is the Pleiades, as I was saying here. So the Sun and Moon, the new moon, will be so close to the Pleiades, and so this really feels like, for me, it's kind of like this connection to the sisterhood or to a community or being in things together, and Saturn in Aquarius as well is really anchoring that. The last quarter moon will be in Aquarius with Saturn, and the first quarter moon will be in Leo. And the lions are all about pride and the tribe and being together. So it feels like at the seed of this cycle, when the sun and the moon join together in the stars of early Taurus, they are joining with the womb, of Taurus, the Pleiades. What a great place to begin with the seed sisters, the sisters of life and fertility and love and embodiment and dance and music and passion. So as we are, coming into this new cycle, really tuning into, what kind of community we have around us, really tuning into our sisterhood, our brotherhood, our familyhood, whatever it is, like our outer community and our circle, and how we can work together. So this whole cycle feels, with the Leo and Aquarius and a Fucus energy, that there's a real invitation to be like this communal network that is working for higher dimensional work. Like we are working together now to create new structures, Saturn, and community, Leo, like new structures within our community that are supportive, that are nurturing, So there's also a grand Earth trine, which we'll look into the chart in just a moment. And the grand Earth trine is going to be a real grounding force, which is connected to Pluto, of course, the new moon, and then Ceres, who's over in Virgo. Ceres is all about nurturing, so there's an invitation into nurturing and support and connection and community that is really being born or seeded at this new moon. And so just before I go over to the chart, I really want to talk about Algol. So this is the star Algol. You can see it's really closely aligned to the new moon. And so this place in the sky, and this star in particular, is known as the demon star because it's the head of Medusa. So if I'll click on the Perseus constellation here, so you can even see in our sky, like it's like it's dangling above me, looking down at me, going, look, it's still here, my head is still hanging. I adore Medusa. I do. Like I feel like such deep connection to her. And also, her beautiful child, which is the flying horse Pegasus, like the whole mythology around the Medusa story, it's really worth looking up and doing your own research because there's so many different versions of the Medusa Perseus story, and oh, I had a dream. I feel like I should share with you. I had this dream about merging with this huge, like serpentine Gorgon woman and had the snakes in her hair. And when I merged with her, so I knew who she was, and I became like this fairy. Like I became my soul essence. Wow, this dream was so powerful. I'll never forget it. And it was like so there's something around the Medusa frequency, right? So when she had her head cut off by Perseus, she was beheaded. And in her head being cut, that was when Pegasus was born. Pegasus is like this incredible flying horse being that is just so high dimensional frequency, like, whoa, so it's like, what can we can unravel this, this is a story that is, there's something in here, there's some wisdom in here that this star Algol is really bringing into this new lunar cycle, and it feels like, wow, yeah, the sisterhood or the priestesses of Medusa, of the serpentine line, which is connected to Isis, which is also obviously connected to Hathor. So there's some real kind of synchronicities here that I feel like with this full moon that will be coming up in a Fucus, it's like, wow, there's some old stories that want to be listened to, and that could be, in our past lives. It feels like these stories need to be shared in our community and witnessed and held and loved, You know, we may feel like we need to do some ceremonies as a community, as a coven, or as like a, yeah, in a container that's held, so that these things can be moved through and loved and healed. But it also is telling us of like the medicine of death, and in this ending, the severing of the old head, you know, that which is being destroyed, there is a whole new life being born, which is so light, you know. So Medusa is like this symbol of the light and the dark, and she embodies both, you know. And you know, there's so many stories, but in one of the stories, like, she was a real heavenly beautiful being until Athena found out that her and Poseidon had laid together in one of her temples. And so some of the stories say that she was raped, some of the stories say that she willingly, you know, made love with Poseidon, Poseidon being the god of the ocean. And it's from the apparently Athena got really upset with Medusa and changed her hair into serpents, and then every time she looked at somebody, they turned to stone, you know. And so there's so much in this story, you know. So if you feel called to like look at this in ourselves, and it brings up for me like the wounds in the sisterhood, you know, with Athena and Medusa, and that actually Medusa was a priestess in Athena's temple, you know. So they was in a sisterhood together, you know. So it can bring up a lot, you know, I feel, around this pain and wounding in the sisterhood and in the community, and how we can sever each other, or we can, you know. And it's like, but the interesting thing is as well, after she died, um Athena would wear the symbol of Medusa on her heart, on her chest, as a necklace to give her power and strength. So, you know, there's a lot. It's just like this story, it's so important. And the star, Algol, is the demon star. It's actually calling us to look at these demons in ourselves, our own demons, the own parts of us, nobody else, ourselves, you know. And you know, Taurus is about ourselves and our body and our feelings and our values, you know. So this new moon is like seeding in these kind of like, come on now, let's really tune into, you know, the wounds and the sisterhood stuff, or the brotherhood stuff, or the family stuff, or the core wounds and the parts of us that really are, you know, calling to be healed. Yeah. And so the connection with Medusa as well is, it's got a really strong connection to, wow, that was so weird. Something just fell over in the corner and I have no idea what that was. Hey, I think Medusa is here. Oh yeah, that's kind of spun me out a bit. Right, let's just take a deep breath. Why dimensional things are happening, right? So I start talking about the blood, and then something rustles in the corner, and yeah. So the blood, this is really worth looking into as well. Like, there has been connections with this star, Algol, Medusa's head, to discoveries when certain planets align with this star. There's been discoveries in DNA, in our blood, in how our cells are formed, how things are like, yeah, to do with like, yeah, our the way that we're formed and our blood. So the energy of Medusa and her head and her blood and her death, you know, it's really, there's a lot in here that we can learn. And so I feel like the Medusa energy is really taking us into the blood mysteries, the mysteries of menstruation and the cycle, the Pleiades connected to the womb, you know. So there is a connection between the cosmic womb and the physical womb in our body, and the womb of the earth, and the cycles of the earth, and the cycles of the moon, and the cycles of the cosmos, and the cycles of the womb, and how it's all connected. And this really is like the teachings or the mysteries of Medusa and the serpent priestesses, you know, and so this new cycle, you know, I feel like there's like this invitation into like this whole and holy wildness, rawness, and realness of the divine feminine. You know, we think about the first quarter moon in Leo as well, you connect that to Sekhmet. And that so, and then the full moon being in the Fucus and the serpent, you know, it's like, wow, there's like this, yeah, there's this connection to this feminine, yeah, wildness and permission, you know, to really be daring and bold in all that we are. And to really feel like the collectiveness of it as well. Like it's been suppressed in so many of us, right? But there's this, whew, you know, because Uranus is quite close as well, you know. I mean, it's not like really close, but Uranus will be having an influence as well on this new moon. And will be coming into alignment with Algol pretty soon, right? So it's there could be like this bizarre and unconventional side of us that's like wants to make a brave new start right now, to do like a whole new version of us and just like go, do you know what? Fuck it, this is me. And it could feel really like liberating and scary, you know, but and also you know, we're really healing this kind of idea of separation and like and things, some things, you know, part of Medusa is poisonous, you know, like half of her was poisonous and half of her was medicinal. That's another story, you know, so that, you know, we can look at the shadows or the demons in ourselves and find the parts that are medicinal, you know, where's the healing in it, and what do we need to put down, and what is poisoning us, you know. So how can we find that balance and put some stuff down and also reawaken the medicinal side of Medusa and really be that whole and holy wildness that we are as well. So yeah, Medusa, the blood, the DNA, and all of our bloodline, you know, like, wow, there's so much in that, you know, and so how can we like remember, like, because this is like Pluto, the last degrees of Capricorn and Sagittarius, like on that cusp. It's about deep inner truth, deep inner knowing, and that comes from these bodily senses, you know. And the Medusa energy can take us here when we're working with the blood, the menstrual blood, as an elixir. It's like it can bring us great insights. It can take us into wisdom, you know, really tuning into the magic and the power of the blood. You know, it's like when I'm bleeding, you know, I feel so sensitive and like I feel like I can connect to all of the realms and I can receive insights and I can channel and I can bring stuff through and I can, and it's like this time when my intuition is just so hot, you know, I can just really sense everything. So, you know, this is about fertility. This is about creation, and we can't have fertility without death. You know, if we're not bleeding, you know, there's no life. So with death comes life, with life comes death. You know, so when you think about the Medusa energy being here, it's like she knows this, she is this, she is the embodiment of both light and dark, half deadly, half heavenly, you know, and we are that, you know, we are light and we are dark, and it's all welcome, you know. So this could be really potent, this new cycle for us. So yeah, I just realizing I've been talking for quite a long time around that, and I haven't even gone into the chart yet, so I better jump over to that. So I could talk about Medusa all day, and rightly so, I think. So yeah, we can see this is the new moon here at 4 degrees of Taurus, and 4 is a very grounding number. It's very stabilizing. It's very like, yeah, grounding is the word that comes mostly. And Taurian energy is very grounding. So this new moon has, you know, although, we've still got Pluto squaring the nodes and it's really intense and we can feel these big shifts happening, there is an opportunity for really kind of like, yeah, grounding into some new practices and some like finding ways to really move through stuff and to um transform stuff. We're still going to have the turbulence and the intensity of Pluto, but he's in trine to the new moon, and he's in a grand earth trine with Ceres, so using the trining energy, we are using this grounding energy to really come home to our body and our feelings and ourselves. And I know that can be incredibly triggering as well, to actually feel things and to really meet with these things in our body that might be, hurting us or poisoning us, So, or different things that we may be doing that can bring, like even like alcohol. It's like, or different things that we're doing that may be causing us to be poisoned, and that's coming from a wounded place, So how can we look at the core and the wounds? And I noticed as well that Venus, who's over in Gemini, is in square to Chiron in Pisces, So this is about talking about our wounds. Venus in Gemini really wants to talk. Probably why I'm going blah 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 blah. Yeah, so Venus in Gemini wants to get her ideas out there. She wants to talk, and it's about healing. It's like she needs to be heard. She needs to speak, and she needs to share all these wounded places in her. And in doing that, it could bring some real medicine to the full moon, which will be coming in Ophiuchus, which is the doctor. So we could take all of this as a whole package, as we always do. So there's a cycle here and there's a journey. And so we are at this new moon, we are coming into our body and our feelings and our senses and our sensuality. We're planting seeds, all the things that we value, things that we love, and there's also this kind of like anchoring force with this grand earth trine, which is about nurturing Ceres, change, Pluto, and our deepest truths. And this new moon is like the deepest truths of our body, the deepest truths. How can we nurture that? How can we heal that? How can we be present for that? So beautiful grand trine. I feel like it's like really nurturing that change and giving our body that support to go through this transformation. Mars is opposing Pluto. I say just because it can bring like this kind of like violent force of like the Mars energy in Cancer. Mars has just moved into Cancer, and it's like he's in the water, and this energy of Mars in Cancer, it's like he can be feeling really insecure, really like shy, or really doesn't feel safe. And he could be like, actually, like what Mars in Cancer, the best thing Mars in Cancer could do is grab a surfboard, or some snorkels and like just go into the waves, So it's kind of like this masculine driving force in the water. It's like, wow, he's going to be taken under sometimes. And so there is this stupid risks that we could be taking, because the Pluto energy and the Uranus energy, which is quite near to the new moon as well, it could be bringing like this kind of daring, unconventional, really bizarre kind of things up to the surface. And then, with Venus in Gemini, we could be saying things, doing things, spreading ideas, but it might be really radical, so it may not be received, which could then, send us back into our wounds, and back into like, oh, drowning in this kind of water, which is like, yeah, there's like with the Pluto and Mars opposition, it's also really shamanic and really deep. It feels like, that could be very sexual as well. We could have increased sex drive. We could feel really sensual and have this drive to make love or to connect, so really to really watch that, and say like, wow, it's like, how can we work with that energy? Like I said, like find ways to embrace that, the waves, the oceanic tides that come in. And I find it in my motherhood journey, you have like surges of intensity, in behavior or in emotions and in feelings. It's just like when you're giving birth and you have like a contraction or a wave coming in. Sometimes all you can do in that time is just be present and breathe. If you're under the water, it's like, wow, you've just got to trust that it's gonna be all right, and we will come up for air and it will be okay, but when we're in that intensity, it can feel like we're drowning. It can feel like there's no way out, but what I'm learning through my wonderful children is everything has its time and it will come to an end. And then there's an opportunity for so much love and presence and acceptance. It's like the more we can go into that, the deep, deep places that we're being pulled in with Pluto right now, to change all that's been and to make way for all that's coming. It's like it's like we're getting pulled into this deepest truth in ourselves of who we really believe ourselves to be. Jupiter's helping with that too now, right? Look, Jupiter's so close to the North Node. Oh my goodness. And Mercury. We're talking about destiny. We're talking about our soul. We're talking about, our purpose and what we're all doing here at this time, So yeah, Black Moon Lilith. Should we talk about her? So she is the wild, untamed feminine, right? She is. And she is in Leo and she is roaring. She's finding her strength. She's finding her tribe and her community. And she is like, she's becoming this she's becoming this wild, divine leader, So she is like, she's having like this time of like, she'll be opposing Pluto, then she'll be opposing Saturn. And so it's like she's going through this kind of journey of inner sovereignty, I feel, and facing a lot of her fears. So the darker feminine in us is like really meeting with like the Medusa energy and Algol, and how we are moving through these really deep fears inside of us, and meeting them, looking at them, and sharing about them with others. And there's so much liberation in that, and there's so much vulnerability in that. So it's but I feel like the Black Moon Lilith in Leo as well, like the fears can be around looking stupid or losing our pride, or just feeling like shame around our expression, So with the Venus in Gemini, we could be sharing our truths and our wounds out there in the community. And Black Moon Lilith can be like that she might share her truth, and then it might be like shamed in some way, or she may feel like it's not received, or so that's an element of this new moon as well. It's really asking us to look at, look back in our lives, and when that's happened before, and how we can, what do we need, how do we find healing for those threads, and that when we go back, how can we tend to that part of ourselves. And this grand earth trine is really supportive of that. Ceres is like taking care in Virgo, taking care of the details, taking care of our body, Taurus, taking care of our physical needs, Taurus, valuing ourselves, valuing our body, and valuing our stories, valuing our medicine, valuing our gifts, valuing our creativity, and so, this whole journey, there could be lots of triggers and pokes, but actually it's helping us to go, actually, no, I am valuable. I have got things to give, and I have medicine to offer to this community. So sometimes we get poked in these places in us, and it goes, oh, I just got nothing, I'm not clever, I'm not wise, I don't know anything, and then we go back into that place that feels those things, and we validate her, him, them. We go there, we say, wow, you feel like that, oh my goodness. And it's like there's so much healing in just giving permission to be broken. And in the brokenness we find, the unraveling of the old. And it's like cleaning the cobwebs away and making space to make the brave new start, to plant these seeds of the future for 7 generations, the 7 sisters. Oh, wow. Amazing, really is. So yeah, I mean, this cycle, it's coming in with like so much already, and the last cycle, the eclipse season and everything, was incredibly intense, right? And so now this intensity is taking a more grounded approach, so taking into consideration, all the stuff that is going to be intense, it's triggering us for a reason, so we can find healing, so we can heal and find the medicine. The full moon in Ophiuchus is going to be about finding the medicine of all of it, everything that's happened. What is this teaching me? How am I like learning from this, and how am I growing from this? So it's a huge opportunity, this cycle, to make grounded change. So yeah, I think that's all. I'm going to stop sharing that screen now, and yeah, just so much gratitude for you all for following my channel and for supporting this work for me. I just love it. I love it so much. Like, yeah, and it's yeah, such a gift to share with you all my visions and my lens and what's coming through me. It's like a fountain of, yeah, my soul. So yeah, if you're enjoying it, please subscribe and share. And yeah, just get in touch if you have any questions. All right, so much love. Mwah. Blessed new moon.